from Houston, Texas. Got Mix News presents The Mix Report, the podcast where you can stay in the mix with sports and entertainment news.
Hey, what's going on, world of ScottMix.net? Hey, you're tuning into The Mix Report, and you're listening at the podcast where it's going to get controversial. You see the topic. You see the title. For those of you that don't want to wait, you go ahead and jump in the comments and express yourself because it's about to get real hot in here. I'm your host, T Mix, and you're now tuning into the Mix Report. So, Hoop Chronicles. We're here to dissect why Michael Jordan, yes, Air Jordan, Chicago Bulls, number 23. You're about to find out why he didn't make my top 10. Right. Yeah. He didn't make my top 10 list. So, yeah, before you start throwing your sneakers, your peanuts, your popcorn, your candy at the screen, you can get in the comments and you can express yourself on why you think I'm crazy. Why do you think I don't know basketball? Or whatever your reason is. Put it in the comments. Share it with your friends because he didn't make my top 10. And it's easy. We're going to go ahead and detail and outline why he didn't make the top 10. Undoubtedly, though, he's one of the greatest players to ever grace the hardwood NBA floors. He has 6 championships, 5 MVP awards, countless other accolades that speak volumes for his dominance. But does that automatically mean and guarantee that he should be in everybody's top 10 list? Not necessarily. Not over here. Well, let's simply break it down first. First and foremost, basketball. Basketball, 5 people. 5 people on the court, about 7 on the bench. It's a team game, folks. Okay? It's a team game. Secondly, who was on his team? Who helped him? Was he out there by himself or did he have help? Thirdly, before Scottie Pippen, Phil Jackson, Dennis Rodman, Horace Grant, Craig Hodges, names go on and on. Before they got there, some of you folks out there that are real good at mathematics, how many championships did he win before Scottie got there? Scottie. Right. Before Scottie Pippen, 6'7", small forward. I already know a lot of y'all go, Scottie Pippen can't compare to Mike. Right. You need to go look the stat sheet up. Scottie Pippen's one of the top greatest 75 players of all time list, right, folks? Correct me if I'm wrong. Scottie Pippen is one of the best players on that team. If Jordan was scoring 35, Scottie had 30. Okay, last time I checked, 30 points in one game is not easy to come by, especially back in those days. Okay. Thirdly, everyone has their own criteria for what makes a player great. For some of y'all, it's championships. For some of y'all, you like accolades, individually accolades. For others, it's about impact. Now, was this guy athletic? Was this guy flying all over the place? Was this guy jumping and other people were jumping with him and they were going down, he's still in the air? Yeah, all that's true. He was Air Jordan. He sold more shoes than anybody in America. Yeah, he has he helped the NBA make more money internationally than anybody that's ever done it. Yeah, Michael Jordan, the one that wore the Nikes with the Jumpman on the back. Yes. Did he do those things? Yes. Okay. But impact, versatility, longevity, Jordan may have checked all these boxes, folks. But for fans and for others, there are players who were just better fit for my top 10. Some of y'all sitting on the couch, on the airplane, in your car, watching us on social media, saying this guy's crazy. We got facts, folks, whether you like it or not. We got facts. You want to know why? Let's break it down. Pivotal moments that shaped the NBA. Today, we're going to give you a scenario. We're going to paint the picture for you. Michael Jordan retired. Let's just paint the picture, because some of y'all you either use pencils, you're using pens, you're using a paintbrush, but right now we're asking you to imagine. In 93, Michael Jordan stuns the world by announcing, hey, I'm going to hang it up. I'm going to retire. I'm quitting on the Bulls. I don't want to be a part of the program anymore. I want to go play baseball. Okay? He picked up his baseball bat and his baseball, and he put that basketball in the garage. The Bulls, check this out, coming off of 3 consecutive NBA championships. They were left like, whoa, our best player in the world is quitting. All right? And you, for those of you that know about impact, if you're like a key employee to an organization and you leave the organization, a lot of times, depending on what kind of employee it was or the greatness of that person, it's going to have a great impact if one leaves the program, correct? You know, let me know in the comments, have you ever been around someone that impacted your environment, whether it be mom, dad, coach, trainer, spiritual leader, mentor, somebody that had a great impact in your life and they were no longer around? How did it affect you? And did you see the greatness in that person? And when they were no longer around, how'd you feel that void? Well, the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, I'm going to tell you how they feel the void. They put number 33 in the mix. Number 33, Scottie Pippen. And guess what else, folks? If they put Scottie in the mix, they had to have somebody to replace Scottie. So guess what? It was Tony Kukoc. Okay? Tony Kukoc. Okay? Some of y'all saw this game, but for those of you that haven't, I challenge you right now. I challenge you, go on YouTube, type in Chicago Bulls 1994 playoffs versus the Knicks, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Game 5, Eastern Conference Finals, and the Bulls were facing the Knicks. Check this out. We're up 2-2. Tensions are brewing. The game is on high. In the closing seconds of this ball game, the Bulls trailing by 1 point. Okay, folks? Just hear me out. You said Michael Jordan should be in my top 10, and I'm telling you why he's not. Scottie Pippen drives to the basket and draws contact. He's fouled, folks. Contact was made. For those referees that are out there, you go back and you tell me what the call is, and you put it in the comments. He gets contact. But in the disbelief of Bulls fans all over the world, it's a no call, no foul. Nothing. And guess what happens, folks? The Knicks secure the victory. One bad call. The Bulls are one bad call away from going to face the Indiana Pacers in the conference finals. Okay? So imagine that. If it goes the other way, the Bulls advance to the Eastern Conference Finals where they potentially play the Pacers with Pippen leading the charge. Not Jordan, not Air Jordan in his greatness, not Air Jordan with all those rings, not Air Jordan who constantly scored points. No. How is it that a guy retires and they're one bad call away from getting to the conference finals? But he's supposed to be great, folks. Oh, you want to know? Oh, you want to know why I think that? Magic Johnson, when he left the Lakers, it destroyed the Lakers. We had guys like Sadale Threet, Peeler, Campbell, Divac. They lost their best friend, the guy that could get them the ball, the guy that led the charge. Okay? And guess what, folks? The thing is, when you lose somebody great, there's going to be a great impact on you. So they lost their great scorer, right? How come Scottie Pippen was able to pick up the slack? Just one bad call away from going back to the chip. They were close. At that time, the Bulls had one of the best defensive rosters. And a lot of y'all don't know what's going on around here, but the Houston Rockets, H-Town, they ended up winning the finals that year. Who's to say in 1994 if Scottie Pippen leading the Bulls don't knock off the Houston Rockets? Yeah. And a lot of y'all, you're like, oh, man, I got more for you. I got more for you. Okay. All right. Isaiah Thomas. They can look this up on YouTube. Isaiah Thomas talks about how the NBA, guys have been getting clothesline cracked in the head, bleeding from the skull when they go in the paint. So guess what was happening, folks? Guess what was happening? Michael Jordan, in the 80s and 90s, Jordan was really trying to establish himself as one of the premier players, scoring points all over the place. And guess what? The bad boys, the Detroit Pistons, had created a defensive strategy called Jordan Rules. And in these rules, they were beating Michael up, fouling him, if you want to call it that, clotheslining him, elbow dropping him, jumping off the top rope, you name it, suplexing. They had to do what they had to do to stop this guy from scoring points. And the NBA, guess what happened? By the Pistons doing this, the Knicks said, hey, we're going to do the same thing to Mike. And he might get 30 points, but we're going to make him earn it, and we're going to foul him. And that's what they did, folks. And a lot of times it stopped Michael Jordan's entry to the finals. So what does the NBA do? They create Jordan's rules, and they stop that from happening. You couldn't touch Mike anymore. He's our star. You can't just foul him like that because we're going to call it. I give Jordan credit. He got in the weight room. He got strong in that weight room. He lifted a few weights. He bench pressed a little bit. He beefed up. But that does not take away the fact that the NBA still created some rules for Mike in order to give him that edge on the rest of the NBA. Last time I checked, folks, when a guy's great, they don't do things to help him. They try to stop him. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jamit Jabbar, when he was in college, they didn't allow dunking. Also, his freshman year at UCLA, you can look this up, they didn't even allow him to play on the big team. He had to play on the freshman team, and the freshman team, that UCLA team, was was dominant, and they were struggling to beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he was on that freshman team when they were playing against one another. They didn't allow dunking, folks, to try to stop Kareem, to try to even the game out. Wilt Chamberlain, they widened the paint because they said that Wilt Chamberlain is just too dominant. Allen, the answer, Iverson, because he was the quickest man they've ever seen in the NBA. They tried to stop him with the carrying rule. They said no carrying because guess why, folks? On national television, he broke those ankles. He took Michael Jordan to school, folks. You can look this up on YouTube. You don't have to take my word for it. All this is factual, what I'm telling you. I'm just giving you another perspective. I'm not saying he's not great. He's just not in my top 10. Mike didn't make my top 10, folks. Face it. Get in the comments. You give me your top 10. Who's your top 10 greatest NBA players of all time? And give me a reason why. I thank you for listening to our show here at the Mix Report. And get in those comments. Share with your friends. Like, comment, and subscribe. And you just got mixed. Thank you.
Live from Houston, Texas. Got Mix News presents The Mix Report, the podcast where you can stay in the mix with sports and entertainment news.